How's it, guys? Just an updated instruction video on the Camo. This is obviously my higher spec boat, so it's not paired with my remote, but I'm going to give you the gist of it. So obviously M for main power, battery backup. There's normally a spacer or a block off here. If you're not using battery backup, that would obviously be on here. Okay, it's a safety thing. So if you're not using that, you can just make sure that stays on there. All right. Main power, lights on and off, spinner safety switch. So before you send the boat off into the water, let's just put your spinner off. It's just in case you activate that and your hand is close to something and you hurt yourself. That's why that is there. Okay. These are the relays, depending what model or year of the boat you've got. On the newer ones, we've got relays here. That's the relay for the spinner, and that's the relay for the battery backup. You would have had micro switches there on the older boat, so that would be the micro switch then for the spinner and then for the battery backup. Okay, cool. Then on the remote, obviously remote on first, then boat, and vice versa, boat off first, then remote. Reason for that is there's fail-safe built into here, so if you put the remote off first, boat's going to hit fail-safe, prop's going to turn and it's going to start doing a slow circle and drop the bucket. So I don't want your hand close to anything there if you do that. So what we're going to do is obviously we're going to put the boat on. Like I said, it's not paired to this boat, but if you turn your boat on, it will start emitting a beep. It wants to pair with the remote or connect. So let's just say this is off and your switch is in the wrong place, and this one here especially. Just take note of those two. It's going to tell you all switches down or throttle down. Make sure you turn this one to the top here. This is the reverse on the boat, so they both have to be in neutral for the boat to initialize. Very important. Okay, you get lots of calls saying why won't it start up. This is normally the culprit. Okay, so this is your throttle, left and right. Okay, top and then reverse. Okay, so that's your reverse function, forward, left and right. This is your trim key. You see, if you move your trim key, you should see that bar at the bottom there. This is your trim for the boat. Okay, so what you want to do is always make sure your boat is running true and straight at the autopilot speed, at the speed that you're using it. So if you're running your boat mostly like that and she's pulling right, you want to go more left. And if she's pulling left, you want to go more right until she's going straight. Okay, that's what that is for, to trim the boat. Then bucket to the right normally. If you've got a dual bucket, some guys want a dual bucket, then left bucket, right bucket. Okay, down is the spinner and battery backup is to the top. That's the second battery. Okay, that's brought into the equation. You have to hold it there the whole time in order to use both batteries at the same time. Okay, it's a safety thing. So you hold it there and then you steer the boat and all of that. And the only time you would use that is when the boat really goes into a crawl mode. Okay, so on our previous boats or some of the older models, this switch may have been used for your spinner. Neutral is middle position, and then battery backup is in the top position. We don't use this anymore because obviously when you boot up the remote, it asks you to put all switches in the top position. Guys would forget this in the top position, and when they used the spinner, they would flip it all the way to the top, which means they were running both batteries at the same time, which is not a good thing. It's only for emergencies. The small battery gets overloaded, causes problems. So that's why we've migrated away from this scenario. But if your boat has this still, please change it to this setup. There is a video on my website on how to do that conversion. Okay, and yeah, that's about it, I think. And then of course on your display, your TX V1, that's top battery, that's the pen lights in the remote. If you've got the voltage sensor, that's the voltage sensor, the EXT, which will give you an RX battery below here. That is the battery of the boat, the main LiPo. And then there's a signal out of 10, that's your signal strength. There is videos on these two and explaining them in a bit more detail on the website as well. Great. And remember, first the boat off, then the remote.